Good morning. Welcome to class 10 History Civics online class. Our first chapter is the First War of Independence 1857. The Indian soldiers in the British Indian Army fought a war against the British in the year 1857. This war is known as the Revolt of 1857. Is also called the Great Uprising, and the British ridiculously call it as the Sepoy Mutiny because this war was started by the Indian soldiers in the British Indian Army. But the Indian historians call it as the First War of Independence because when the Sepoys started this war, Indian people from different parts of the country and from different walks of life joined the war. And for the first time, the Indian people as a whole fought against a common enemy, that is the British. And that is why the Indian historians call it as the First War of Independence. We have to learn mainly three things in this lesson. They are the causes of the war, the results of the war, and the drawbacks of the war. The first topic is causes of the war, and it is very important. The causes of the war can be classified into four. They are political causes, socio-religious causes, economic causes, and military causes. Besides this, there is an immediate cause also, that is the introduction of Enfield rifle. Let's go with the first cause, that is the political cause. So many factors are responsible. So many political factors are responsible for the revolt of 1857. One of the political factors is the policy of annexation. The British came to India as traders. Many other European countries also came to India. They traded with India, and in order to trade with India, they established organization of the traders. So these organizations are called East India Companies. When the British traders came to India, they established an organization in order to trade with India, that is called the English East India Company. The main motive of the English East India Company was to increase their economic profit. And in order to increase the economic profit, they concentrated their attention in establishing their political supremacy over India. Thus they started to conquer Indian territories, and they brought much of the Indian territories under their control. Thus, in order to expand their political power in India, they adopted four methods. The first one is outright wars. Outright war means the British directly waged war against the local Indian rulers, and they defeated the Indian rulers. They captured the Indian territories and annexed it with the British Empire. Some of the best examples for the outright wars are the Anglo-Maratha War, Anglo-Mysore War, Anglo-Sikh War, etc. The second one is subsidiary alliance system. The British Viceroy Lord Wellesley introduced a system called subsidiary alliance, according to which the British offered help to the Indian rulers against their enemies. If an Indian ruler is under the threat of any attack of any of the local Indian ruler or a foreign ruler, the British will help the Indian ruler against such enemies. But the Indian ruler has to join in a policy called subsidiary alliance system. And according to the subsidiary alliance system, the British asked the Indian ruler to agree with certain conditions. The terms of the subsidiary alliance system are: if an Indian ruler joins in the subsidiary alliance system, the ruler has to accept British as the supreme power in India. Secondly, the Indian ruler has to keep a British army in his territory, and the expense of this army, maintenance of this army, is totally on the shoulder of the Indian ruler. The Indian ruler has to keep a British resident in his court. The resident is an officer of the English East India Company, and his main duty is to keep a watch on all the activities of the Indian ruler, whether the Indian ruler is violating any of the terms of the subsidiary alliance system, and what are the activities of the Indian ruler. All these things are very closely observed by the resident. And another provision of the subsidiary alliance system was the Indian ruler who joins with the system cannot make any agreement, any treaties or friendly relationship with any other Indian ruler or any other foreigners. So thus, by accepting the terms and conditions of the subsidiary alliance system, the Indian ruler virtually lost his independence. The next method British adopted in their policy of expansion was the doctrine of lapse. The Viceroy Lord Dalhousie introduced this system. According to this system, if an Indian ruler dies without having a natural heir, his territory would join with the British Indian Empire. Adopted son of a deceased ruler is not able to inherit the territory of the father. And as per this system, the British in India annexed so many Indian territories: Jhansi, Satara, Sambalpur, Jaipur, Udaipur, etc. are some of the Indian territories annexed by the British using the doctrine of lapse. The next policy adopted by the British was alleged misrule. Alleged misrule, that is just an accusation made by the British against an Indian ruler. Under alleged misrule, the British annexed Awadh in the year 1856. If the British wanted to annex any Indian territory, they made some reason, and that is the Indian ruler is not able to run the administration of the territory. Actually, this was just a blame or an accusation only. The Indian ruler was ruling the territory well and efficiently, but the British made the reason that Indian ruler is not ruling the territory well. So by using this method, alleged misrule, they annexed the Awadh. But it produced the far-reaching results because from Awadh only, the British recruited around 75,000 Indians to the British Indian Army. And when Awadh was annexed, these soldiers and their families had to pay heavy taxes to the British. Moreover, under the British rule, the life and living condition of the Indians in Awadh that declined. So they became the enemies of the British and they turned against the British. Another political cause for the revolt of 1857 was disrespect shown to Bahadur Shah. Bahadur Shah Zafar was the last Mughal emperor. During the time of Viceroy Lord Dalhousie, he made an announcement in the year 1849. The announcement was that the successors of Bahadur Shah would not be able to use Red Fort as their royal palace. Instead, they have to move a place near Qutub Minar. The successors of Bahadur Shah would shift from Red Fort and they live in another place near Qutub Minar. That means they have no right to live in the palace. A similar announcement was made during the time of Viceroy Lord Canning in the year 1856. Canning also made an announcement that the successors of Bahadur Shah would not be eligible to use any of the imperial titles like Maharaja, Emperor, King or any such. Both these announcements were some deliberate attempts made by the British in order to reduce the status of the Mughal rulers to the mere status of an ordinary citizen. So the Muslims turned against these announcements made by the viceroys. They turned against the British. The next political cause is ill treatment given to Nana Sahib and Rani Lakshmi Bai. Nana Sahib and Rani Lakshmi Bai both were victims of the doctrine of lakhs. After the death of the ruler of Jhansi, Gangadhar Rao, the adopted son of Rani Lakshmi Bai was not allowed to be the next ruler. Similarly, after the death of Peshwa Bajirao II, the adopted son of Nana Sahib was also not allowed to be the next ruler. So both of them turned against the British. Then another political cause is absentee sovereigntyship. Absentee sovereigntyship means the sovereign power in India was absent. British were the sovereign power, the rulers of India. But these rulers were not present in India. That means the administrative machinery was running from England. And they run the Indian administration through their representatives in India. British were foreigners. Similarly, the previous rulers, Mughals, Delhi Sultans, they were also foreigners. But we can see a difference. When the Mughals ruled over India, when the Delhi Sultans ruled over India, they ruled India staying in India only. They became part of India. They adopted the customs of India, they adopted the traditions of India, and they became part of India. They collected revenue from Indian people, and this money they used for the welfare of the Indian people. Whereas the British, under the British rule, they did not become part of India. They ruled India from England. They collected Indian revenue, and this money was not used for the welfare of the Indians. They were just taking away the money from India. So these are the main political causes for the revolt of 1857. Once again, the political causes are, first one, the policy of expansion, and under the policy of expansion, there are four factors. One is outright wars, second one, subsidiary alliance system, third one, the doctrine of lapse, and fourth one, alleged misrule. The second factor is disrespect shown to Bahadur Shah Zafar. Third one is ill treatment given to Nana Sahib and Rani Lakshmi Bai. And fourth one is the absentee sovereignty.